Hey folks, Ned Canty here, General Director of Opera Memphis and Stage Director of our upcoming production of The Elixir of Love, opening on February 2nd. I will go ahead and say that this is my 5th attempt at recording this video and uploading it. YouTube is not being my friend tonight, and their usual webcam upload wasn't working, so hopefully this one will work. I thought today I would talk a little bit about repeats in opera. It's something that comes up a lot, and often I'll have discussions with my friends who work in theater or in television, and we'll talk about the various strengths and weaknesses of different genres. And one of the things they always ding opera for is they say, well, everybody just says the same thing over and over. And what I would say in response to that, or what I do say, is, well, in times of real passion, in times of real emotional stress, good or bad, you don't often speak in the kind of eloquent way that you would in a movie or a play when you get to that point. You know, not everybody can come up with "you complete me" or whatever. It's usually much more the case that you do repeat yourself, that you, if you're unsure of something, you say, I don't get it, I don't understand, I don't believe it. You repeat maybe slight variations on what you're saying, but usually the words are pretty much the same. The emotions build and grow or shrink or whatever, but the words don't change that much. So I would argue that the way opera handles those times is in some way more true to life, because the music is taking the place of the emotional component there, and the words are much more in line with how normal people talk for the most part. So this becomes important in Prendi for the following reason, and this is where I'm going to say, if you do not know the opera, if you haven't seen the opera but you are going to see the opera, you should shut this video off right now. Allow yourself to go and see it fresh. Don't read a synopsis. Don't find out what happens in the end. You know, it's a romantic comedy, so make whatever assumptions you will based on that. But at the same time, experience it live. Watch all of the ins and outs and the twists and turns of the plot, because it's very twisty-turny in a good way. So shut it off now if you do not know the plot of Elixir of Love. Okay, I'm going to assume that if you're still with me, then you do know the plot. And so you know at this point in the opera with Prendi, Adina has bought back Nemorino's recruitment papers. You know, Belcore got him to sign up to be in the army in order to get the money so that he could get the elixir, to drink the elixir to get Adina to love him, even though it means that he would have to go to the army. And when he realizes she loves him, all he can wish for is un solo istante, one moment, because he knows that the next day he has to go to war. So she comes in and says, hey, I've bought your papers back from Belcore. And he says, well, of course she has. You know, that's the elixir at work. And then she proceeds to start trying to tell him how she feels. And of course, she is still figuring out how to put into words what she feels, because while her heart may have known as she felt for a long time, her brain didn't, and her brain is really racing to catch up. And so watching her try to tell him, to try to find the words, to spend a lot of time talking about how he's loved in the village, how all these great things about him, how he's honest and he's wise, saggio. And it's interesting because as she's saying it, she's realizing, you know, wise is not usually a word you would use for a guy like Nemorino, who still counts on his toes. But the truth is that there is a wisdom in the way Nemorino thinks. You know, Nemorino understands what's truly important in life. He knows that it isn't money or things or status or, you know, stripes on a sleeve. What's important is sitting on a porch with the person you love and watching the sunset. And he knows that, and it took her an entire opera to figure that out, and that is a kind of wisdom. So she does that, and then she gets cold feet, she panics, and she starts to leave. And Nemorino, who's assuming that all of this somehow is leading up to the fact that she loves him, but doesn't really recognize what she's going through, because he expects her to be acting like the other girls, who really were just acting that way because they know that he's rich now. So he doesn't know how to recognize it, and she doesn't know how to say it. So he freaks out because she's leaving, and he says, well, if you don't love me, I might as well join the army. I want to go, I'm going to join the army, and I want to die if I'm not going to have your love. And she stops him with one of my favorite moments in the opera. She sings, ah, fou, and that fou is backed up by the full orchestra. It's a great reminder of what's special about opera, because one single human voice, even if it was John Gielgud's, could not convey the impact that Adina's voice can in that one moment when backed up by a full orchestra. So she stops him and says, no, the doctor didn't lie to you. You should trust your heart. and then needs to find words, and the orchestra's racing away under her, and she says, look, you are dear to me, and I love you. And this is when the repeats begin, because she's not really expressing it in a way that Nemorino can quite understand. He's still disbelieving. He keeps repeating, "Tu mami, you love me?" Which again is very human behavior, very simple, and repeating the question because he just can't believe it. "Tu mami, tu mami?" He asks it several times. She finally convinces him, and then she sits him down and says, look, as terrible as I've been to you, from now on, that's how good I'm going to be to you. And then she repeats that several times, but each time she does, the music is more joyous, more ecstatic, because she's experiencing this kind of release as she's admitted the way she feels, as she's admitted how terrible she's acted. She gets more and more ecstatic about the actual nature of her current relationship with Nemorino and what the future holds. And that's what makes that aria, it's sort of a pseudo-duet because he sings in it as well. It's what makes it so powerful and so wonderful, is that it's chaotic and it's crazy and it's messy the way that life is and love is. And it's that messiness is as opposed to a real formal rigor that you have in a lot of the rest of the opera. So that's my thoughts on why repeats are awesome, and why, if you really look hard enough, they can feel more true to life and psychologically real than something that is more flowery, that is in the voice of a poet rather than in the voice of a person. So I hope you're enjoying our podcasts. I need to stop now and go. I've been requested to do a video explaining the plot of Elixir, so I've got some little hand puppets here. Thank you, stage management, for making those. And I'm going to do that, and I should be posting it today or tomorrow. So hope you're enjoying our videos, and if you don't have your tickets yet to Elixir of Love, there's still time. Just go to www.operamemphis.org, and remember, if you come on opening night, we're having a hootenanny afterwards. The Side Street Steppers will be playing. We're going to have square dancing. We're going to have cowboy vittles, the whole 9 yards. So hope to see you there at GPAC, February 2nd, 7:30, Elixir of Love. Thanks very much. Have a great night.